If you walk around town and you've had a close encounter with a bicyclist, you know it can be dangerous. There's some out there who ride a little bit too fast, and sadly now we're learning about funeral services scheduled for Jill Tarloff. She was the woman hit by a cyclist in Central Park last week, and she died from her injuries.
Major story in today's paper that we still see a lot of bikers going through red lights. Not necessarily the people you see here in these pictures. It looks like they're going slow and obeying the rules, but it is happening. Bikers tend to not, at least the ones profiled today, stop at those red lights. Let's go to Teresa Priolo. She's on the Upper East Side. Where specifically there, Teresa?
Hey, good morning, Greg and Rosanna. I'm on 68th and Lex, and let me tell you, based on the traffic that we're seeing here this morning, a bicycle might be the only way to get around. They are the only people that are really moving at any great speed. Although what's interesting is, despite all the traffic, we're seeing a lot of cyclists going in the wrong direction. We just saw a guy come west on 68th Street and then cut across Lex to head downtown. He's going the wrong way, and we've seen a lot of that this morning. So it just goes to show that over the last couple of days, really last week, we have been talking about cyclists being a huge problem in Central Park, where they're competing for a space with not only the cars, but also pedestrians. And what we're finding is it's not just Central Park. It's on our main streets, main avenues as well. In fact, the New York Post did an informal survey, and they found that out of the 1,000 bicyclists that they saw going by, 80% of the time, the cyclists blew through red lights. That was the #1 thing that they saw. Not only were they blowing through red lights, though, they were failing to yield to pedestrians, and they weren't following a lot of the other posted signs as well, let alone not even going the speed limit. This is a huge problem here in the city, and we are paying attention to it because of what happened last week. On Thursday, a Fairfield, Connecticut woman by the name of Jill Tarloff was killed by 31-year-old James Marshall. He was, by all accounts, flying through the park. He hit her, and she was seriously injured. She was put on life support and died on Monday. We talked to some people here on the Upper East Side on 68th and Lex about the cyclists that are flying by, and here's what they had to say about it.
I don't even bike down Lex. I only use the avenues that have bike lanes to actually avoid that situation entirely, because I think it's kind of dangerous biking around next to these cars.
Bicyclists, you know, a lot of times they don't pay attention to lights and things like that. And so you have to be on your guard a lot.
It makes me anxious because maybe who knows what can happen. A car is a big deal, but it's also a bicycle. That's what people don't realize. A bicycle, you can be hit by a bicycle too and be hurt too.
Now, we have been reporting that the NYPD is in the midst of a crackdown in Central Park looking for cyclists not following the rules of the road. No word from them, though, if in fact that crackdown extends to some of our other streets and avenues outside of the park and around the city. Interesting, though, Greg and Rosanna, we heard from at least one cyclist this morning that they won't take a street like Lex because there is no bike lane. They just don't feel as though it's safe. Back to both of you in the studio.
Teresa, thank you very much. Great report.